Welcome to Intimacy Evolution with Brianna and Mark, where they discuss desire, intimacy, and how to embrace the changes within your relationship. Brianna has been a sexual health educator for 14 years and is currently working as a relationship and intimacy coach. Mark is a licensed professional counselor and has been running his own private practice for 6 years. Together, they have 2 young kids and have dealt with the many ebbs and flows during their 15 years together. Intimacy evolves over time, and that's okay. Let's talk about it. Hello, and welcome to Intimacy Evolution. I am Brianna Carey.
And I am married to Brianna Carey. I'm Mark Carey.
Well, congratulations.
I love it.
Welcome back if you are a continued listener, and welcome if you are new. We're excited to have you here, and hopefully you learn a little something, or you can have a laugh with us or at us, whatever it may be. We are here for all the things. So today we have a great topic. I think it's something we've mentioned in the past episodes that would be on the brink, like coming to our show sometime. It's also things that get brought up a lot in conversation with friends. People ask us, how do you do this? This is something that I've received a lot of questions from clients about. How do you navigate this topic? And the topic today is how/when do you have the talk, air quotes, the talk with your kids?
I love the air quotes.
So we're really going to dive into this. We're going to talk about when to start having the conversation, how to go about it, why, who, what, when, where, why, how.
There you go.
I guess.
All of them.
All of it. So let's just jump right in. Mark already told me that I was going to be like piloting this, and he's just going to kind of be here for support. So
I'm just here for comical relief. I don't know what else.
Sure. So just a little background. One, y'all know, if you don't, we have 2 kids. So this is something that is very present in our life right now. And this has been literally the catalyst for my entire career, basically. So when I was in college, I was an education major. I wanted to focus on elementary education. And my main goal with becoming a teacher was to get experience and get my foot in the door so that I could basically learn how to revamp the sexual education system, or lack thereof. Like, that was my whole purpose for becoming a teacher. And one, that didn't happen, obviously. But it didn't, because as I started getting up into the end of my program, closing into the student teaching portion, I just realized that it was basically a dead end. There was so much red tape, just wasn't going to happen that way. So then I found Pure Romance. I've been a sexual health educator for almost 15 years now. That segued me into my coaching. And what I'm learning now is the impact I was wanting to make and helping to create safety for children is going to be through parents. So
Yes.
Educating the parents and helping to reduce the stigma of sex, or talking about sex and the charge that has, and helping parents to feel comfortable to talk to their kids about it is what's going to help empower these younger generations.
I want to jump in for just a second.
Please do.
I don't think we're ever, as parents, as whoever you are, it's never going to be fun.
It's going to be awkward.
Yes.
It's going to be so awkward.
And we have to be okay with
because
that.
it's your kid. Like, if I was talking to somebody else's kid, like, no big deal. Like, I could tell them all the things because that's my educator hat. When I'm educating my child, it's like what we've talked about before. Like, you don't want to coach our son in wrestling. Even though you are a collegiate athlete, you've done it for many years, you've coached other kids, you don't want to coach your kid because that just messes up the dynamic. So it can get really uncomfortable or awkward. But also, if you start having these conversations from the get-go, again, that's going to help lessen the awkwardness.
Well, and if you do that and you do it early enough, the only person that feels awkward is you. The kid does not feel like this is a strange conversation. They don't feel like this is an awkward conversation. It's when you have never had conversations like this and they're teenagers, and then you try to approach it and it's like, well, yeah, they feel weird about it now too because you've never done this.
Right. And they've probably already been getting some information from friends or the internet or whatever resources they've got it from. So then it's like, okay, this is weird talking to my parents. But if you just establish that from the very get-go. So we're going to cover all of that.
So the first thing to take away from today, talk early and talk often.
Yeah.
About these topics.
Summed it right up.
I guess the episode's over. No?
Not quite. But so again, we've kind of alluded to this. We've talked about this. This has been a thing. And then last night I had a conversation. We had a girls' night and a friend and I were talking. And she's like, well, you're in this space, but like, how do you talk to your kids about this? And what do you do? And I'm like, yep, time for that episode. So thanks for the inspiration. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about how and when to have the talk with your kids. And one of the main reasons, the big thing that we know is teaching abstinence. Not only does it not work, but this is because kids don't have an understanding of their body and the tools in which they need to communicate about sexuality, their sexual health. Just telling them not to do something isn't going to cut it. Like, we're curious by nature. Kids are curious. They learn by exploring. Alarm to go pick up our kid in an hour. So,
and the other thing is, we've all had these experiences. If I said, don't visualize a yellow banana.
You are so rude right now.
No. It has nothing to do with you.
I'll give you background on that in just a minute.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah,
you visualize the yellow banana. Most people, yes.
Yes.
For those that don't know, I cannot visualize in my head. I do not see pictures or images. So if you tell me to visualize a yellow banana, I know what it looks like, but I do not see a picture in my head. So he was giving me a smirk when he was leading into that.
Well, that's because I knew that's where you'd go, and that's not the purpose.
It's still a new discovery for me. So
it's the same as if you're walking on a balance beam. You don't look down; you look at the beam that you're trying to stay on. And so it's common for humans to have this experience. And the less we talk about it, the more shame and guilt and negative emotions that usually arise. Yeah. Secrecy, which leads to a number of issues.
Yep.
All that type of stuff.
Yep. All good points. Yeah. So basically, we want to empower them with tools and resources so that they can make proper choices, safe choices. And so, yes, we have the internet and it is amazing for a variety of things. It's a wealth of knowledge. There's also a vast assortment of misinformation. And just to give a little more detail into what misinformation, obviously we know that pornography is not a proper way to learn about sex, but also information that's out there. So this story still just hits with me. It's from a few years ago. It's a friend I went to school with. She was a manager at a restaurant. So she had some high school employees, and she had overheard a conversation about one of the girls who had a pregnancy scare, and they were talking about it, and they're like, oh, well, you're fine because you can't get pregnant from pre-cum, pre-ejaculate. And it's like, well, no, that's maybe less likely, but it's not a completely no at all. And so again, just misinformation that they think that, and those things that we see in movies, right? You can't get pregnant if she's on top. You know what I mean?
Gravity. Duh.
Silly things like that. You know what I mean? So, and this is information that your kids are getting. And if they don't know otherwise, they will believe it. And that's really scary. So that's kind of what we're up against right now. There's just so much misinformation out there. And again, we just want them to make the best decisions, learn how to make the best decisions possible.
It doesn't always mean it is the decision you want them to make. Correct. Or the decision you would make, but
what's best for them at the time, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so again, when they have knowledge, they have resources, they're not going to experiment necessarily to learn because they don't know. It's going to be a safer exploration. We'll get into that more later. They're not going to find out the hard way because they didn't know what the potential consequences were.
Yeah.
So again, I've been in this space for almost 15 years now, and I see just how unaware people are of their bodies. It's imperative to teach about our body safety, helping to reduce the risk of your child possibly being a victim of sexual abuse as well.
Yeah, there's a pretty big correlation between knowing proper terms and having a voice around sexuality, reducing the likelihood of sexual abuse.
Yeah, we're going to really delve into that here in just a minute. Yeah. So again, society has just painted this picture that we have a one sit down talk about the birds and the bees with kids when they hit puberty, and then that's it. And that's just not true. And so these conversations need to start from the time that they're a baby, and they're going to evolve as they grow and get older, and you will navigate what's age appropriate. And we have that all like outlined here for you. So like Mark just said, developing positive language around the body, using proper terminology. You do not want to give body parts cutesy names, because this is, again, super detrimental to their safety, because then they're not able to properly communicate if something has happened to them. And there's so many stories out there. One that's like coming to me is the story of this little girl in elementary school that went to her teacher, and she would just share kind of almost casually, but like, it was like, she would tell her teacher, my uncle touched my cookie last night. Or she would say, my uncle licked my cookie. And the teacher literally had no idea that this little girl was explaining her uncle abusing her.
Yeah. And you know, there's a number of factors there. One, somebody couldn't help. Two, as a little person, you're expressing something that's quite vulnerable and no one does anything about it. And so why would you tell anyone else?
Yeah.
Why would you talk about it? You know, all this other stuff. So there's a number of breakdowns in communication there if we don't use terms that everyone can understand.
Yeah.
And this is penis, vagina, vulva, you know, breast, nipples. I mean,
and the other really atrocious part to that is children that do come forward and name an abuser, when they're not using the proper terminology, a lot of times the charges get dropped, because again, that proper term, it's inconclusive, quote unquote, right? They can't, and I'm not a lawyer, so don't come at me with like terms, but like, they can't say, well, they said that he touched this, did this. She called it a cookie. Okay. Like, so it completely dismisses. And then how disheartening is that as a parent? And then as a child, like, nobody believed you.
Yeah. And as a mental health professional watching this in court cases and whatnot, it's a lot of, in these cases, it's all he said, she said type of thing. And there's an adult and a child. And if there's no hard evidence or whatever, it's so difficult, especially if those things are not being used and in place for justice to occur.
Yeah. And another big thing about using proper language, if a child is using the proper terminology, then a predator knows that they have adults in their life that are talking to them, and they're most likely not going to target them because they're not an easy target.
Yeah. And this is one of those things that's like not front of mind. It's not like the person is like, oh, I hear this term, this means this. It's almost subconscious. It's just kind of naturally they understand that this is not somebody they're going to approach. You know, there's a lot that we don't quite understand of how that happens or why that happens, but we know that that is a thing.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
Yeah.
So another great reason. Use proper terminology from day one.
Yep. That's what we're getting into. Yeah. So again, this starts with everyday activities. Like when you have a baby and you're changing their diaper or they're taking a bath, you name their parts. So we would start, with our son when he was a baby, especially as they get a little bit older, they're wiggling a little bit more. Maybe their hand kind of goes down into their diaper area, right? And so you're like, oh, I'm changing your diaper now. Yep, that's your penis. I'm going to make sure your penis is clean. Or vulva with our daughter, right? We're going to make sure vulva is the outside part, vagina is the inside part, just so we have that clarified as well. So just just name it. And it's as simple as that. As kids get a little bit older, so between the ages of 1 and 2, when they start discovering more of their body, especially like during bath time and diaper time, or if you're potty training, again, this is when you can say, oh, I see you found your penis, and you just name it like any other body part, and
that's your toe, that's your ear, that's your nose.
Yep. So you say, oh, I see you found your penis. Where's your toe? Where's your hand? And you can go through different body parts, right? And so one thing you want to make sure that you don't do is say, no, don't do that. We don't touch that. We don't touch there, because that is already starting to instill some shamefulness around touching their body. And so if they keep going back to it after playing the body parts game, where's your head, where's your toes, whatever, and they keep going back to it, and be like, yep, that's your penis, that's your vulva. We can explore our bodies in the privacy of our own room. And simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I think a lot of times parents were like, oh, don't pull on that. Don't do that. Don't touch yourself. And it's almost more for our comfort than it is for the kids. And so just identify it, name it, and tell them where the proper place is to do that. So between the ages of 2 and 5 is when you discuss proper boundaries. So this is fundamental for consent. We want them to know from a very young age they are in full control of their body, and that nobody can touch their body without their permission. So this also includes hugs and kisses and tickling, different things like that, especially like family members, grandparents, oh, come give me a hug, right? Or help them rephrase their language, right? Would you like to give me a hug? Or can grandma, grandpa have a hug? And then if they say no, let them know that's okay. That's okay. You don't want to give grandma, grandpa a hug. Do you want to give them a high five, or do you just want to wave?
Yeah.
And if they don't want to do anything, that's okay too. There doesn't have to be another option.
Yeah, we want to treat them like a person.
Right. I don't want somebody just to come up and say, give me a hug. Oh, just give me a hug. No, I said no.
And trust me, that happens often. I say, can I have a hug? Nope.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, no, not right now, but thank you. And again, so around this age, bath time. So when our son was younger, our kids, when they were younger at this age, I would say, do you want mommy to wash your body, or do you want to wash your body? A lot of times, especially for our son, he was really busy playing with the toy. He's like, oh, mommy, you can wash my body. I'm like, okay. And then again, I name the body parts. Okay, I'm going to start up here. We're going to wash your face. We're going to wash under your arms. We're going to wash around your penis. And then you move down, right? And then if he's like, no, I want to wash, then again, I walk him through. I say, where do we start? We start at the top of our head. We work our way down, and we name the body parts again. But he is in control of that. He decided he wants to wash, or he decides mommy wants to wash. And so just giving kids body autonomy is so important.
And the lovely part of all this, you'll get to experience so many funny moments. He's like, no, I want to wash my penis first. Okay, interesting choice. Good for you.
Right.
And you can just chuckle at it. It brings a level of connection through, safety and autonomy and words and everything else. So, yeah. And
we were talking about this before when I was making notes too. I think that parents have this fear that if their kids know their body parts, they're going to be walking down an aisle in Target, and then all of a sudden they're just going to belt out penis and be so embarrassed. And I'm like, that's one, as a person and a parent, I would chuckle at that. I'm like, oh, but also if they're using the proper terminology, then cool. And again, if you're using that language and it's just a body part, it loses that charge. So they're not going to shout it out in the middle of a store, because what's the point? It's a body part. It's not a funny word. Kids that do that say it because it's a funny word to them. It hasn't been in their normal language. So there's that. So where are we going from here? Oh, talking about, this is also the age where kids are very curious about babies, where babies come from. Especially if you have a child from 2 to 5 and you yourself are expecting another one, or a family member, or they see a teacher at school or whatever. And then they get curious, like, oh, where does a baby come from? And so short, simple answers are really all that's needed for kids a lot of times. And so something as simple as they say, where do baby, how are babies made? You can answer, well, there's lots of different ways babies are made. And that might be sufficient enough for them at that time. They're like, okay, cool. One thing that we do as adults is we overthink and we freak out and we think that we have to go into this full on explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Like a few months ago, Remy asked me a question in the car about I can't remember exactly, but it was like, what would happen if a mommy didn't have a daddy? Like she was pregnant, she had a baby, but there wasn't a daddy around when she went into labor. What would happen or something? I can't remember exactly how it worded because I started going through this whole process. I'm like, okay, are we talking about like same-sex parents? Are we talking about like, where are we going here? And his only concern was how would she get to the hospital if she was pregnant, like in labor? That was it.
Yeah. Drive or be driven.
Exactly. So again, we just overthink too much. So the question is, well, how do you think they would get there? Or how do you think babies are made or whatever? You can always ask a question with a question because then that's going to allow give you more insight into how in depth you have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. If they're a little bit older, like if they're around 5 or 6, and they ask you about how babies are made, you can give them an explanation of there's a sperm from the daddy, there's an egg from the mommy. When those come together, they make a baby.
Just like every other animal, mostly.
And again, super short and simple. Like you don't have to go into detail. Like, well, when a daddy loves a mommy and then they come together, like you don't have to do that yet. Super simple, sperm, egg, they come together, they make a baby. And a lot of times that's going to be fine. One thing that you want to keep in mind here though, don't lie to them and don't tell them when a seed gets planted, you have to water it and go through those analogies because that's super confusing.
Yeah, especially developmentally at those years, they're very kind of rigid in thinking and the abstract is not there.
Yeah, they don't have that.
There's no reason to go through that.
Yeah, exactly. Again, those stories are shared, those analogies, because the adult is uncomfortable explaining it.
Yeah, and they're shared between adults and adults usually because those are the people who can understand them, not children.
Yeah. So between the ages of 6 and 8, you may need to revisit the self-exploration. This is the kind of age range where girls might be rubbing on furniture or boys are touching themselves a lot more. Their hands are in their pants a lot more. They're grabbing themselves and stuff like that. And all they know is that it feels good or it's different when they do that. So again, don't make a big deal out of it. You can gently let them know hey, we can explore our bodies in the privacy of our own room.
Yeah. And if you have a boy, the hand may never come out of the pants. I mean,
yeah.
Grown adults,
Yeah. And this is the age, again, where you really want to start talking about body safety. So again, we kind of touched on that between the 2 and 5 age range. That's where my body is mine. Nobody has the rights to touch it or ask you to see it. Revisit that around this age range as well and just make sure that you're saying, and especially around this age, might be where they're having play dates at friends' houses too. So again, explaining that nobody has the right to see your naked body or to ask to see your naked body. And also that we don't keep secrets. Mm-hmm. So for us, there's no secrets, only surprises. And surprises are a short time and it's for a happy reason. So a birthday present, Christmas present, whatever, a gift usually. And adults don't ask kids to keep secrets. And if somebody asks you to keep a secret, say, no, don't tell your parents, then the first thing you do is tell your parents. Yeah. So we've been telling our kids that since they were 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah. Other things we tell them, adults don't ask kids for help to find their dog. Mm-hmm. Adults don't ask kids help to find their kid at the park or whatever. Adults don't ask kids for help when they really need it.
Yeah.
And so
for big stuff. Yeah. I know, cause that can get kind of tricky, cause at home we say our daughter's our big helper because she literally inserts herself into all the things and will love to help us with tasks around the house.
Yeah.
But that's the important piece there is if you're out and about, an adult will not ask for help for a serious situation.
Not from a kid, and especially not if they're a stranger.
Correct.
So,
yes, lots more we could go in on there, but we'll stick with this for now. Let's see. And then just, do periodic check-ins with your kiddos and just say, especially like when you go to the doctor, I know our pediatrician's really good about this. Like when they're doing a full physical and checking them out, he'll say, it's only okay for me to do this and look in your underwear area because your mommy is here and she said it's okay right now, And so again, just checking in with them and, seeing how they're doing, how they respond to certain things. If they start to get, maybe seem like they're a little uncomfortable, don't push it because you don't want them to shut down. Give them a little space and maybe figure out how to reword some different things because who knows, maybe there was an older kid on the bus or at school or somewhere that said something that made them uncomfortable and they're kind of confused about how to navigate that. So there's other things there, but so then between the ages of 9 and 12, this is when they're going to start getting into puberty. So their bodies are changing. They have lots of emotions. They may have some confusion around their body and how they feel about it. This is also where girls are starting to develop body issues. And this is where you can insert the sex talk. I know it still seems a little young, but again, it can be done age appropriately. You don't have to actually talk about the whole physical aspect, and I'll tell more here in just a minute. So children with vaginas, they start puberty between 9 and 11, and children with penises start around 10. So that, again, pubic hair, the breasts start to bud. And it's important for them to know about not only their body, but the opposite reproductive system as well and how it works. Now, I remember in 5th grade, we had the film, boys and girls were separated. We each watched our own film about our bodies. And I remember we came back into the room after, everybody was giggling, but it was awkward and embarrassing. And I remember having more questions than answers.
Yeah.
It didn't really give us anything. And I think in 6th grade, then we watched the opposite film or something, but they always separated us. And I was it seemed like something to be ashamed of. Okay, they can't see this. They can't know about this. And that's...
Again, secrets.
Yes. Yes. And so I remember for us girls, we were so embarrassed if we started our period, hide tampons or pads and sneak it in our sleeves or whatever, because we didn't want somebody to see that we were on our period. And we need to do better. It's a part of life. 50% of the population has periods. The other 50% of the population has somebody in their life that has periods. So,
yep.
So if we just remove that stigma.
Hey guys, it's me, Mark. I wanted to jump on here and share a quick little story for you. In the past year or so, I've been on the path of working with coaches and mentors, both on the one-on-one and in group settings, which has impacted the way I show up in my everyday life and ultimately helped to make big, lasting changes. My health is better. I'm down 10 pounds and feeling great. I have a deeper connection in my relationship with my wife, our kids, my friends and family. And I've made this big shift in my career, starting the transition from therapy into coaching. And with that said, I'm excited to offer support to the men out there who are looking to make some big changes in their life, whether it be in your relationship, your health, or your career, or maybe some of everything. If you're really ready to show up for yourself, to be supported in achieving your goals, I have 2 ways you can work with me. One-on-one VIP coaching experience. This is for you if you're looking to make big changes quickly. I'm here to help you and guide you and keep you accountable. I also have a men's group coaching program where you get to meet other men that are also stepping up to embrace their masculine and who are ready to make an impact on their lives. Links to both are in the show notes. I look forward to working with you.
So talk to them not only about their reproductive system, but about the opposite reproductive system. And again, answer a question with a question, so that, again, you can gauge how far in depth you need to go. When they come to you with something, you can ask, well, what do you think that is? Or what do you think that means? Or where did you hear that from? So you can do that. So children with vaginas need to be informed about their menstrual cycle and what all that entails, and knowing that when they get their period, they can come to you and not feel embarrassed about it. You can ask them if they know if any older kids or girls in their grade have started their period yet. You can even share your own story about when you got your period. And this is something that I've heard time and time and time again from women. Nobody told them about their period. They didn't know what was happening. Like,
that'd be scary.
Women literally, like, these girls thought they were dying because they went to the bathroom and just saw blood in the toilet. And they're panicking because nobody told them that this was going to happen. And then they almost feel betrayed. Like, why did nobody tell me this? This is like, everybody goes through this and nobody told me this. Like, what the hell? And so, again, share stories, information, resources. Let them know they can go to the nurse if they need to. Make a little period pack for them with, some wipes and a pad, and like there's a whole bunch of stuff there's a lot of information out there about that. But that way, a baggie and a pair of leggings so they can change into, so they can be prepared. Again, children with penises, you want to talk to them about erections and wet dreams, ejaculation. So you want to talk to them around the age of 7 or 8, so that when it does happen, they don't freak out. Or when they do, you can be like, oh, it's okay. Remember, we talked about this. This is part of your body growing. You're coming into puberty. This is totally normal. And again, this is a great time to talk about safe sexual choices, talking about sex, love, and being responsible, explaining that kissing another person's private parts is a form of sex. So I know that, in middle school age, they might hear words like boner or blowjob, things like that, and letting them know what those terms mean. Because again, misinformation, kids will share oh, if you have sex this way, then you're okay, you're safe, and that's not true. Girls can't get pregnant through oral sex, but you can still pass STIs and diseases, and it is still a very intimate act. And, any form of sex entails feelings, and it's a commitment to another person. And again, you can talk about casual sex is for adults. So we'll just leave it at that. So at this time, yes, it's a commitment to another person, and you don't do that unless you have love and genuine feelings. And it's just not something to do casually obviously at this age, right? Let's see. Anything you have there?
No, I just think that I like how you said that. Casually is not meant for young people, just because there's so much changing in the brain, so many neurochemicals happening. We've all either experienced or know of people who, early on you had sex with someone, you felt differently about them.
Yeah.
And so casual sex is much more risky because it's hard to comprehend and understand for the kids. So by all means, casual sex as an adult, all you want, however you want. I have no judgment at that whatsoever. But yeah.
Yeah. Totally different conversation.
Yes.
So at this point, we do want to let them know that it is about a love and a commitment to another person, and, there's feelings and things like that. So,
Because we also don't want our kids blindsided because they did this act with someone, and then all of a sudden they don't get reciprocal feelings, and they're heartbroken. We don't want that either.
Yeah. So again, just talking about, abstinence is not a proper form of education. You can't tell them not to do it. They need to know their body, and it's something that you can share with someone you love and are committed to, and you have full consent. You give consent, you have their consent. You're not enabling them. You're not condoning them to go out and experiment. And it's actually the opposite. You're empowering them with information to make decisions, and usually they make the decision to wait. So the average age for the US for the first time having sex is around 17, which is quite high. So it's really good. But they're not going to be curious and trying to figure out what happens if they do this, because they already know the potential risks that are in place. This is also the time you want to talk to them about internet safety. because again, you've established open communication from the get-go. Between the ages of 5 and 7, like kids in school are having access to iPads and computers. If your kid has access to a phone or plays video games, like we've talked about this, like video games online, you never know who's on the other side. So telling your kids to never share personal information, i.e. their age, where they live, where they go to school. And just because someone says they're a 10-year-old boy doesn't mean it's true. And that's really tough for young kids to comprehend.
Yes. Depending on the age, very much so.
Mm-hmm. Anything you have with that?
Well, we're getting there. Something popped up in my head, and that is, where does the discussion about pleasure come into all this? Because we're talking about like how to navigate this, but at the same time, as parents, we want to say like this act, like there's all this stuff around it that is important to know. There's also, self-pleasure and pleasure around that that is great. Mm-hmm. And kind of safety around pleasure. And for the most part, that kind of starts to come into that category of, I don't know what age you're at right now.
We're about to jump into the teen years. And I think that's probably more around. And we actually just talked to some friends about this on our trip. They have older girls, teenagers, one high school, one middle school, and talking about the masturbation with the older one and, different things. And so, I think, again, when you're establishing healthy communication and letting them know that they can explore themselves in the safety and privacy of their bedroom, they're going to know that what they're doing feels good. And then there's not going to be shame or secrecy around it because you said that's your place to do that. Mm-hmm. And so as you come into the teen years, again, you've built this amazing foundation, open communication, established a safe container to have these conversations and for them to come to you with questions, and if you have teens or you have preteens right now and you haven't had these conversations, like this is a great time to sit down and start having these conversations with them and just be open and honest. Say like, hey, this has been something that's been very uncomfortable for me. I didn't have anybody share this information with me when I was your age. I might not have all the answers, but I want you to know you can come to me and we will find the answers together.
Yeah.
So you can still do that if your kids are older.
I'm so glad you said that because I had that question for you, just for us to talk about it. Sitting in my mind, like, what if your kids are much older now? How do you bridge the gap, right?
Yeah. Just own it and share with them. And, so teens are where you can start talking about, pleasure with masturbation, or if they are, sexually active, how to speak to their partner to make sure that their needs are being met and they're enjoying it because it should be enjoyable, consensual for both partners, right? And so, this is also where you want to start talking about the variety of birth control options, setting up appointments with their doctor if they do have questions or if they want to get on birth control. You want to make sure that they're prepared and you help them take the proper precautions. And again, you're not enabling them. You're just making sure that they're safe and protected.
Yeah, because the secret is they're going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
No matter, you can either give them the information and they're going to make the best decision that they can at the time for them, or you don't give them the information and who knows what decisions they're going to make, but they're still going to do it either way.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, with that, let them know where they can get condoms. Let them know that they don't keep them in their wallet, that they have expiration dates. Share
Once they're open, throw them out. Once they're used, you don't reuse them.
Oh my gosh.
Don't flip them inside out like your underwear.
Gotta stop it. I've never heard that. I want to unhear that.
Not gonna happen.
Share resources on how to properly put on a condom. And again, this isn't just for the boys, for the girls too. Like, let girls know where they can get condoms, to always be prepared with a condom. Show them how they can put on a condom so they know it's put on properly and not just take the guy's word for it. Just really empowering them with their decisions, because knowledge is power, right?
Well, and I love that amount of ownership and not just relying on other people. You are the single most important person to you.
Yep.
And so that you have to take that responsibility and move forward with that. So yeah, very much.
Yeah. And then also, you're talking about consent within a sexual relationship. Reiterate how they have control over their body and who touches it. Discuss how they can protect themselves against peer pressure or dating violence. That, this can lead into a conversation about how drinking and drugs can have a major influence on their decision-making skills.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of staying aware of their surroundings and always staying with their friends, making wise choices. And with that, I also want to say, let them know that if at any time they are somewhere and they become very uncomfortable in the situation that they are in and they want to leave, they can call you with no questions asked. And that literally means no questions asked. And I'm going to get super emotional about this. The only question you need to ask them is where they are so that you know where to go get them if you're not already tracking their phones. Because I know that's a thing now. It wasn't a thing when I was in high school. Even if they ended up somewhere other than what they told you, if they told you they were having a sleepover at their best friend's house and they ended up at a party somewhere on the other side of town. Now I'm like channeling Clueless. You pick them up, ask if they're okay, and then that's it. And that shows that you are safe and you're reliable and you're going to stick to your word. And I can almost guarantee you that by giving them that space, they're going to end up sharing with you what they experienced.
Not only that, but the need, this is all parents.
Mm-hmm.
We can say, ourselves included, the need to punish kids is unnecessary.
Yeah. This is not the time to teach a lesson.
Well, and it doesn't matter. I'm just saying across the board, there's no time to, the natural consequences are what always teaches the lesson.
Yeah.
So the embarrassment of just the situation, the emotions that are drawn up from being in that situation, say, maybe I don't want to be in that situation again.
Yeah.
And the positive is they go, and my parent absolutely loves me, will do anything for me, is there for me, and they're not pressuring me.
Yeah.
And so, this whole idea of, we need all these consequences for our kids, the consequences are
natural consequences.
Natural there.
Yeah. So just embrace the fact that they made the right decision by calling you to come and get them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is, and again, if, you have some older kids right now and they come to you and say, hey, I had sex and this happened, just sit and listen to them. Let them know you're there. Like, don't, were you safe? Okay. What questions do you have? What do you need from me? Is there any support? Are there resources that you need? When they do have that conversation with you, don't, I don't know. I think all of this is going to help prepare you to not have that unfortunate conversation of this happened. I didn't know about this. And now I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
That we don't want for our teen kids,
Yeah, definitely.
So like we already said, it's going to feel awkward. Like as a parent, hearing your kid say that they had sex and you're like, oh, okay. But also knowing at your core that you have supported them and gave them all of the resources and information that they needed to make the decision, and that was best for them at the time. And hopefully it was a good experience. I mean, I don't know if anybody's first experience is a good experience, but it's going to be good enough at the time, I guess.
Yeah,
if they go through the...
Most people, they're hoping for at least just neutral.
Yeah.
We could just have a neutral experience, But
anywho, yeah.
Big secret, everyone. Every one of our kids will have sex at some point.
Yeah, they will. We did. So yeah, it's a thing.
Not we, as in you and I. We weren't together when we were.
No, we weren't. But I mean, like we people, as humans, people.
I know.
We've had. Okay, that was a. I don't want to say heavy episode, but it was very dense,
but
necessary. I hope it was valuable.
For some people, it might be even confronting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we say all this out of love, care, and support. Yeah. It's not, the intent is to look out and help each other.
Yeah. exactly. And if this brought up more questions for you on how to navigate these conversations, please do not hesitate to reach out, like message us on Instagram, or you can send me an email. And we're happy to have those conversations and help you navigate that a little bit more. And like Mark said, if it was a little confronting and uncomfortable and you're just like, I have some of my own shit I need to work out first before I have these conversations with my kids so I can feel comfortable, we're here for you. And I will also be sharing some resources in the show notes, different Instagram accounts. There's some that talk about, consent for kids and, safety for kids and all sorts of things. There's also some other books and online resources and stuff like that. So I'll be sharing all of those in the show notes too. And again, we are here to help support you in any way, whether it's your life, your relationship, or in having those conversations with your kids. We're here for you. So hope this was a good episode for y'all.
Yeah, I don't know what I say to that. Well, I'm glad you came to listen, and thank you. And until next time.
Yep. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you found this helpful, entertaining, or both, please take a quick minute to give a rating and review. That would mean the world to us, and it helps other beautiful humans to find our show. We'll see you next week.